What's going on YouTube? Today we got deck profile for a deck that I am very excited to play going into the next format, and that's going to be Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes is one of my favorite decks back in 2016 era of the game, or somewhere around there, I can't remember exactly, when we got alternative and all the other support. So it's really cool to be able to play this deck again, especially Spirit Dragon, one of my favorite cards. The deck, unfortunately, should have been budget, but the price of the Lordly Loads has made this deck anything but, and it's unfortunate. So this is going to be like a non-budgeted at all. Usually when structure decks come out, I like to give budget alternatives to the structure deck. So that's something that people want to see, leave in the comment section down below. But this is the competitive version of the deck that I'm definitely going to be playing at locals, regionals, etc. If I decide to take this, I don't think it's any better than Rizio or Malice at the current juncture, just because those decks are at full power, and Detonator does kind of just crush this deck. But we'll see going forward if there's adjustments. This is a very rough first draft. I haven't been practicing too much with it online or anything, so this is what I got now. I can already tell you there are a couple cards I would cut to make room for more non-engine, and cards like Pot of Prosperity I want to play in here. But I wanted to give you an idea of my first draft and get a video out before the structure decks actually release. So starting off, 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon. You definitely don't want to play 3. You don't want to draw multiples of this or any, honestly, but I wanted to play 2 in case the one gets bestialed or whatever. And then for the card, honestly, that makes this all work is Maiden of White. This card is insane. You can discard this to place a True Light. It might say activate, but you basically just put True Light from almost anywhere face up on the field. True Light's busted card. It's nice to have access to it. And then when you summon a vanilla Blue Eyes White Dragon, you get to summon her for free from the graveyard. So she's really, really good. This is like the mold for the deck. And then the card to search her is 3 Sage. Yeah, Sage is busted. Not once per turn. Back then, it wasn't really important that it wasn't once per turn because you were never really using Mausoleum of White for anything. But now you have a way to search Mausoleum. So having multiples of this is sick. There have been a few games where I've been able just to search 2 Veilers with this, so that was pretty disgusting. But this small package is all you need for the Blue Eyes cards. There's one of the nice things is you don't have to play all the eggs and cards of consonants to get rid of the eggs. This deck is just so streamlined now. So Sage and Maiden are the glue for the deck. Sage effect to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon, like by discarding and targeting an effect monster, doesn't really come up in this build, at least in my testing. So that's a relevant effect, just not one that you need to really worry about. For the Blue Eyes spell cards, there's the 3 Wishes. This card is insane. You discard 1 card from your hand and search a level 1 Light Tuner, and a spell card that mentions Blue Eyes White Dragon. I think you can search Trap too, but most of the time you're just searching the one of Roar with Blue-Eyed Dragons. So this card is just phenomenal. You can set it off True Light. And like I said, you're playing the one of Moon. And the best part about this card is you just get your free Blue Eyes. It's basically Primite Roar. Card stick. The 1 Mausoleum for engine requirement. You'll never use the Burst Stream of Destruction effect, I hope. But I guess you could, in theory, like side it for going second or whatever. But the 1 Majesty, this is a very hard going first card, so you could debate if you want to put it in the side deck. I want to try it in the main because I also just wanted an extra card to search off this. But this card is busted. Being able to pop like 2 to 3 cards is really good. There's always 2 in this build. I know there are like some that want to actually fuse and play 3 Blue Eyes, so, but this one's only 2. And then the True Light. This card's busted. Like, the thing with all these cards is, like, they're all very busted. They're all very powerful cards. They just always had the Blue Eyes text to them. So now that you have more ways to get them, more consistent ways to push and extend with the new cards, they're actually just playable. So a lot of times you'll notice archetypes have busted cards and they're just tied to a bad archetype or like an inconsistent archetype, and this deck is neither of those now. This deck is very consistent and very powerful. For probably the main reason this deck is playable is the 3 Primite Aether Barrels, 3 Lordly Loads, and and the drill beam. So this engine's cracked. This engine is just free bodies every turn, free negate and banish every turn. It does suck that we got this card like buffed and then we lost the buff, but it was probably for the best that that happened because this card would have been way too good with the ability to add back every standby. It would make this literally free. But yeah, Aether Barrel is still just a busted card. I don't know why we keep getting cards that have like 2 or 3 layers of text on them that makes one card effect negate not worthwhile all the time. But Lordly Load, very expensive card. It's unfortunate if people weren't able to pick these up now because for a lot of people these will be out of reach. And like I said, I'll do an updated budget version where we don't play these cards if there's enough response to it. Now we're at non-engine. This nice stack. One of the better things about this deck is you get to play so much of it, and you get to play some really good one, or a very good one that a lot of decks just can't play. 3 Ash, you know, Ash and Imperm are kind of like mandatory this format. 3 Fuelos. You don't necessarily have to play Fua if you don't want to, like to avoid also help with budget. But you're going second, like it's not impossible, but it is a lot harder than like Malice or Rise Yield to play into going second boards. So you kind of want this as like the great like way to help you push and get more engine. You do risk drawing, you know, things like Blue Eyes or whatever, or like turning off your wishes if you draw too many cards. But like, I think the threat and making them make a half board is just worth the risk. But I have seen a lot of people not play Fua or anything like that, and the OCG doesn't play Fua or anything, and they just play the Maxis. But you know, Maxis obviously much different of a card. 3 Veiler cards busted in this. You get to search it. Wishes can search it. Sage can search it. So sometimes you'll end on boards where you get your normal board, and then you'll just have Effect Veiler in your hand as well, and you can like search another copy. So it's just so nice. 3 Nibiru, like kind of like a necessity of this format. I definitely don't want to play it going forward, but I don't have to. I don't like the card. I always draw it as the 6th, but you have to respect the power of the card. But it's so weird. Like it's like even if you like get your seals negated by like an Imperm or something like that, being able to just attribute it and then get a body out is pretty nice. 3 infinite permanents, like I said, you gotta play 3. And a big reason to really like this deck is the ability to play Dominus Purge. It does conflict with Ash, but like having 6 copies of the card is just kind of insane. Plus, like going first, if you draw it, you can just set it. And I'm only playing 2 cards in the extra deck that it conflicts with, so it's just worth playing. The 2 cards in the extra deck aren't even all that important. They're just kind of there to be there because they're good enough. But you definitely have enough room for all this non-engine, which makes this deck also very good. And then you got cards like Drill Beam, you know, that are just like continual forms of interruption. And you can easily cut down on some of these. Like, I think going forward, depending how the meta adjusts to this, I might cut the 3 Nibs or like a Prosperity, a Called By, and like a Magnemite. And like, sure, Magnemite will conflict with Purge at that point. But if you get to open Magnemite without this card, then you get the ability to search your Primite Dragon. Like I said, it's just very rough first draft. So this is just how I'm building it right now. I haven't had any like real gripes. Prosperity in this deck is kind of free because we're playing a lot of duplicates of cards that you can easily pitch off Prosperity, but also because like you're not drawing cards, so there's never a confliction with Prosperity. You have a lot of cards in your extra deck you just don't mind getting rid of, and then it just helps give you that little itch of consistency. The Called By would be pretty nice just to have for certain cards. Like these specifically, like Fua, you'll get like 4 or 5 draws off of this deck if they decide to keep going. Another hand trap I kind of want to play is Droll and Lockbird. I think Droll and Lockbird is fantastic this format. And I think if I were to play Droll, it'd probably be in the place of Fua, but we're going to see how it goes. I will be doing locals with this next week for the Blue Eyes Structure Deck Celebration mat, so we'll see how it goes. But yeah, this is the hand trap lineup I'm playing, non-engine lineup. Not much to be said. I think you need to play at least like 15 to 18. So yeah, that's that. And then for the extra deck, I'm not going to be doing a side deck in this because, like I said, I haven't played it in a tournament or anything. And your side deck should always be based on what your locals or wherever you're going is going to be playing. So if you're going in a bigger event, you might want to play more copies of things like the armies like Meows. I'll pretty much play decks. I have a lot of Malice players in my locals, but the side deck is always just tailored to where you're playing and what you're doing. So for the extra, you got 3 Spirit Dragon. This card is insane. One of my favorite cards in the past. The fact that you get to cheat Crimson Dragon and Crimson Dragons to cheat something else is just absurd. You can't be nibbed when this is on the field, which is also absurd. And the fact that you can negate a graveyard effect once per copy is also insane. This card is just ridiculous. I love it, and I'm glad that I can finally play it again. And it's got the nice QCR, Not gonna talk about how much those cost. Definitely don't need those to play that. And then the other level 9 we're playing is Lightstorm. This card is interesting. I don't think I've made it, but I would rather have the option to make it than not have it. It's really cool. It's got a pretty great effect. It just hasn't come up for me personally. And then we're playing the 1 Blue Eyes Ultimate Spirit Dragon. This card is cracked as well. Having an on-field negate is really good, and if it gets outed somehow, you can bring back, Spirit Dragon, so you have like some form of nip protection. You can't use the Spirit Dragon effect again to like summon because it has to be synchro summoned. But like you still get like a big body back for free, or you can summon back just like anything really. It's just such a good card. And then it pairs really well with the Cypher Dragon that we're playing as well. The 1 Moonlight for Spirit, just as a way to like have another form of interaction for cards that you don't really want to destroy, or you don't need a negate. You need like this type of card effect. It doesn't really come up either. We don't have to play this, but we don't have Baron or anything. This will probably get cut for a Typhon eventually, or one of the cards I'm about to show you might get cut for a Typhon. I do end up missing Typhon almost every time it's on my extra deck. So then the Crimson Dragon, this card, it should be banned, and I don't know why it's allowed because it restricts design space in the future. But for the Crimson Dragon, we have 2 targets. We have Trish and we have Cypher. So the idea with this Cypher, Cypher's the main one you're doing. With the 12, you just have so much protection. Neither the cards can be destroyed, and this card's just absolutely busted. Definitely need this card. You could play Blazar over it, and like when you banish the Blazar, it resets the destruction clause that Spirit Dragon gives it. But at the same time, like this card just has more application. We'll see going forward. Maybe I'll find a way to play both. Trish is for Spirit Dragon, so you can Crimson Dragon, and then use this, and then you can use the Spirit Dragon to tag out into the negate. So these are really sick. You can't actually make Trish, but really cool combination of cards. I do not play the Synchro Rumble for this card. I think that card's awful in a deck like this. Like in a deck that's literally playing a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and the deck is a requirement, does not need types of bricks like that. So I am not playing the Synchro Rumble. I don't think it's necessarily a bad card. It's just bad for this deck. 2 of the new Link 1, which is Spirit with Eyes of Blue. This card is absurd. You get the Search Mausoleum. It's a Link 1, points down. The only restriction to this deck that really matters is that you can't summon anything except for dragons. Oh no. So you'll just link this off into the Heavenly Seals. Oh no. But yeah, this card is ridiculous. Being able to search or dump Mausoleum, I guess you can dump it. And then, being able to send a Blue Eyes from the deck is really nice, because once you get them in rotation, you don't really need anymore. So being able to get rid of a brick is so nice. And then the seals for the end board. There's a lot of really wild synchro end boards you get in with this deck, but I really just like ending like this. This plays through the most like hand traps. This has a lot of layered interaction that is not respected, and sometimes if you get really wild or your hand's just really good, you can end like this. This is the ideal board, because then you have so much here, and like it feels impossible to play through, especially when you add Drill Beam to the mix. So usually I try to end like this, but most of the time I just end with the 1 Spirit Dragon, and this is still just a lot of interruptions by itself. I do play SP. You will almost never make this card, but it's just like Typhon, where you want the jail out of free card. I think this is the better jail out of free card over Typhon, because it can interact over the course of multiple turns. And then we're playing the 2 fusions. I have yet to ever make the combo where you set it up, but the theory is there. You have the space, so you might as well try for it. I will probably be honest with you, this will probably be prosperity the way almost all the time, along with this. So you like got 3 prosperity slots right there. But everybody's playing them, so I decided to just go ahead and try them too. And like I said, I haven't done it yet, but you know, who knows? Maybe at locals we'll see it. And that's it for the profile. Blue Eyes is really cool. It's really nice to see a deck like this in 2025 be playable. Um, the hope is that maybe Dark Magician will get there too, or Red Eyes, or just another deck that's not Blue Eyes. It's always been the more pushed of the three. But yeah, that's it for the profile. Lack of content upload recently has just been honestly just the format being pretty mediocre for me, not really enjoying it. I do love Malice still, but I don't like the environment that we have to play in for Malice. Lancia is just such a rude card, but you gotta have it. But we are gonna do feature matches this weekend, mainly because I am being forced to. So yeah, we'll have them up hopefully, and I will be playing this deck for the foreseeable future and mixing it with Malice or Mitsurugi Raziel. So yeah, thanks for watching to the end. Remember to comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Blue Eyes and how you think it'll place in the meta. I think it'll be in a fine spot. I think it'll be a fantastic tier 1 deck. And it can only get better from here when Raziel and Malice get adjusted a bit. Thanks for watching. Remember to comment, rate, subscribe. Peace, YouTube.